Hi there, good to see you again. Welcome back. I'm excited for our next step in how we are even more prepared for our book clubs. Are you ready? Let's find out today's target. Here we go. Get your arrows out. Pull it back. And let's read our target together. 1, 2, 3. I can identify different ways of talking about my book in book club. Psh. Nicely done. So we now know it's important to choose a good fit book. We've seen an example of what a book club looks and sounds like. We know it's important to come to book club prepared with our stickies and our notes. But how do we just jump in and start talking without a teacher guiding our conversation? Check out a couple of the examples of things you might hear someone say in a book club. I wonder. Well, this part is interesting because I liked the ending because the character changed when. A fact I learned from this book is those are just a few examples of what you might hear friends say during a book club. So it's our job to now take our preparation and our hard work, share what we wrote in coding the text, share other things like favorite parts, author's message, other things we've learned this year like identifying the main idea. And so it's now our job to take all those preparations and begin talking about the text that we've all spent time in together. So if we follow our book club norms and our group agrees to these norms, this is the part that we are focusing on. We are actually focusing on these 4 things today: listening to others, asking questions, building on a friend's thinking to strengthen ideas, and encouraging everyone to participate, because it can be really easy for some people to talk during a book club. It can be really tough for others to speak up. So it's our job to ensure we participate and to also encourage our friends to participate as well. Okay, I'm really excited. I have another example for you here today. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to carefully and closely watch today's book club example and see what you notice about their talking. How are they talking? When are they talking? What kinds of things are they saying and talking about? I have some sticky notes here to take some notes. And I also have a circle map here ready to go that says talking in book clubs. So I can just jot ideas down all around here. So go ahead and pause the video now if you want to grab yourself some stickies or a piece of paper and a writing utensil, because it's really important that you notice all of the great talking that's happening during our example today. You ready? Are you prepared? Do you have your materials? Awesome! All right, let's be ready to jot down a couple ideas and share what we notice about the talking in this video.
So today we'll be talking about Strega Nona, written by Tommy DePaula for a book club discussion. So as I was reading this book, I was thinking a lot about this character, Big Anthony, and especially the page where it talks about, and Big Anthony, who didn't pay attention, went to see her. So Big Anthony went to see Strega Nona about getting a job, and I thought that part where it says he didn't pay attention might cause him some trouble later on in this story.
And to add on to that, I'm noticing on this page where he watches Strega Nona cooking her pasta pot, that he sees her say the different songs, but he doesn't see her blow 3 kisses, and it's an example of him not paying attention that causes problems for him later.
So the author doesn't say it, but what he does in the beginning also helps us to understand what the problem is going to be, right? Because, so she asks, he comes, he wants to work for her, and she gives him all of his food, she gives him a place to sleep, and she just says, you can't do this one thing. And then right here, we had a big place to sleep, next to the goat shed. He had food to eat. And then it kind of lets you know, but he just couldn't stay happy with that. And a lot of times that's where the problem arises, I've noticed, in characters wanting more. So you talked about greed as a theme,
Right. And
Or a lesson learned the hard
like
way.
the other's
Right?
message.
Yep. And when it talks about the one thing you can't do with the magic pot, the magic pasta pot, when she leaves, he had memorized the song, and being greedy, that's a good word to describe him. And when he talked about doing the song, the reason he was doing the magic pasta pot wasn't to give the people in the town the spaghetti. It was really just to get revenge on Strega Nona for telling him he can't talk it or can't touch it. And that talks a lot about his character.
Seemed like he wanted attention from the townspeople too.
Yes,
right,
he
for
did.
knowing this magic pasta pot.
Right. And they did think he was a hero at first.
At that time.
Yeah.
And then that definitely changes as the pasta pot explodes and
Yeah.
Strega Nona comes running in. And at that point, everyone changes their tune and says, string him up, hang him up, right?
Right. He went from being the hero to the
Zero.
zero really fast.
And again, Strega Nona showed how generous she was, that she saved him from a harsher punishment, I guess, whatever stringing up would look like.
Where did you find that?
I found that in this part, and she says, "No, wait," said Strega Nona. "The punishment must fit the crime." I'm wondering if you guys thought it was a good punishment that he had to eat all the pasta.
I thought it was definitely better than the alternative.
Being strung up.
Strung up. And it gives you a little bit of perspective on her character. So we've been talking about characters.
And how generous and kind she is. And she does pay attention because she knew what the problem was.
Wow, what an amazing example. I have so many notes and we only watched half of that book club example. What did you write down? If you need to go back and rewatch, go ahead. If you're feeling good and you have a couple things that you would be ready to share about what you noticed, then continue on with me. Here's a few things I noticed about the talking in that book club example. Are you ready? I noticed they were all looking at the one person who was talking. No one was playing with their book. No one was trying to say, "Oh, my idea, my idea, my idea." They were actually looking at the speaker and listening. Because they were doing that, I heard people saying things like, "I want to add on to that idea," or "Can you give me an example of that?" Or "Where did you read that?" That shows me they were actually really listening to each other because they were able to ask questions and build on each other's thinking right away. I also noticed that everyone was following along and all of the talking stayed focused on the text. Did you notice that, reader? Nice, I knew you did. Did you also notice that a lot of their talking in this fiction text focused on the character? Characters are so rich and they have so much about them that changes or that describes them or that you can infer. So I thought focusing in on the character and talking about the character made for a really great book club conversation. What else did I notice? There were examples. So when someone shared a thought or an opinion that they had, I know you've been practicing opinions, they pulled an example straight from the text to say, well, here's an example of when he was greedy. Did you hear that? That's a really strong way to support your thinking and your talking during a book club time. I also heard people asking each other questions like, what do you think about this part? Here's my opinion about this part. What do you think? Can you explain why you think that? This was a great book club example about what you can do when you talk, listen, and build on each other's thinking in a really careful way. So let's talk about what that can look like. Are you ready? You can definitely ask a question about something someone else shared. We saw that happen today. That's a great way to participate in your book club. If someone asks a question about the book, like when I read The Treasure and I wrote, Why did the author choose to not have a picture on this first page? Someone else in my book club could answer my question. They might have background knowledge I don't know. They might know something about this author and their style that I don't know. Or they might have a smart prediction or interpretation from the text that I didn't have myself. So asking a question about someone else's thinking, answering a question someone else asks, are fantastic ways to build on someone's thinking. I also loved how in that video, one of the teachers said, I'd like to add on to that. Someone's idea was put into the book club and she added on to it. She didn't just jump to a new idea. A third way you could build on someone's thinking is you can agree or respectfully disagree and explain why. You might have the same opinion as someone. You may have a totally different opinion. You may have interpreted the author's message different from someone else. It's okay to say, I agree because, or you know what, I respectfully disagree with that opinion and here's why. Those are okay. It's just really important that we do it kindly and respectfully, because if we can do it respectfully, we can actually learn so much from the different ways that we all can think about the same text. Did you know, readers, anything we've learned this year or you've learned in the past is fair game to talk about in a book club. So it could be decoding the text you do. It could be focusing on the character like the example we saw today. Or it could be any of the many things that you've learned to do as a reader this year. So for example, if you want to share the main idea of the book and why you think what you think the main idea is, great. If you want to share a reaction you should. If your talking focuses on the author's message of the story, put it out there for the whole group to talk about. If you have something interesting that you read or funny or exciting, share it. Someone else might have an agreement or a respectful disagreement with you. Anything you've learned as a reader is fair game to focus on and talk about during your book club. So remember, your job is to not only read and prepare, but to then participate and talk during a book club. So today, it's important that you share what is one way you can participate in a book club. What did you notice in our example today? Click on the green Add Response button in today's Seesaw activity. Take a really clear photo or video of the notes you took during our example. Click on the Caption button and leave a caption for your teacher. Make sure you share one or more things that you noticed about the talking in today's book club. And click that green check mark to turn it into your teacher. Your teacher can't wait to hear what you noticed about the talking and conversation during today's book club example. See you next time.